म्यूजिक बंद कर दो। चलो स्टार्ट करते हैं। लाल सालम novel is authored by whom? लाल सलाम चिपर सलाम चिपर अजय नाम हिंदुओं का है। थोड़ा लाल सलाम बुलंद दरवाजा was built to commemorate Akbar victory over Gujarat. Where did the headquarter of World Anti-Doping Agency? ये एथेंस हो सकता है, मॉन्ट्रियल भी हो सकता है, पेरिस भी हो सकता है। In which year did Aishwarya Rai Bachchan win the Miss World title? No idea. Indian Parliament should meet at least thrice in sessions होता है ना, should meet at least once a year होगा ना, 6 महीने में twice a year, क्योंकि 6 महीने से ज़्यादा नहीं skip कर सकते हैं। बेकार क्वेश्चन था एकदम। Who among the following is the author of the book A History of British India? जेनीविल ऑस्टिन बेथैम जेम्स मिल भी हो सकता है। 75 year plan 5th 6th 7th था food grain production employment productivity removal of poverty 5th था sustainable development था 3rd rapid industrialization 2nd which river contributes to the Magadh transportation water supply making the land fertile? है तो गंगा सोन, मगध में सोन आती है ये नहीं पता मुझे, और होगी तो इन मगध बिहार में गोदावरी वगैरह तो आएगी नहीं। The distance covered by an object in unit time is called distance covered by breath speed. डिस्टेंस है कवर्ड, डिस्प्लेसमेंट नहीं है। डिस्प्लेसमेंट होगी तो वेलोसिटी होगी। covered by an object in unit time. After the inclusion of the Maratha military landscape in 2025, how many 42 है कि 43 है? 42 है शायद, 43 भी हो सकता है यार। 42 है कि 43? 42 है क्या? 42 करते हैं। काकरपाड़ा एटॉमिक काकरपाड़ा गुजरात में। खाखरा खारा। Which of the following pairs of language falls under the Schedule 6 of the Indian Constitution? हिंदी एंड मराठी, ब्रिटिश एंड फ्रेंच। ये कैसा क्वेश्चन है? भोजपुरी, तुलु एंड कोडव। पूना एक्ट 1932 was signed between 1932। पूना बी आर अम्बेडकर, नेहरू। इनसे क्यों करेगा अरविंद? महात्मा गांधी अरविंद 31 में हो गई, पूना पे एक्ट तो नहीं। मैकडोनल्ड यहाँ के कुछ नहीं काम करेगा पूना में। तो गांधी जी यहाँ तो गांधी 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 बहुत बार है। According to census 2011, which of the following are the 3 least spoken scheduled languages in India? Least spoken, संस्कृत तो होगी। हिंदी तो कहाँ से? बोडो, मणिपुरी। Which of the book Jhampa Lady is considered by her memoir and was originally written in Italian, the lowland. In other words, नमासेक हो सकती है क्योंकि इटालियन है. What is the total domestic raw coking coal production in India during the financial year? इतना मुझे नहीं पता इसका बिल्कुल. What is the literal meaning of the word Buddha? Buddha. Enlightened one, the teacher. The traditional folk dance, folk genre of the Bhojpuri region that consists of emotional narrative, sad plays, and song is known as Kajri, Cheti, Sohar, Biraha. Emotional narratives or sad plays. Kajri, Sohar, Biraha. Sohar हो सकता है पर मुझे आइडिया नहीं है. Which of the following person received the Dronacharya Award in regular category for hockey? 2024 में हरती संदीप सांगवान. सांगवान शायद जीता था. सांगवान कुछ तो जीता है. सांगवान. सांगवान शायद आर्चरी में है क्या? द्रोणाचार्य अवार्ड सांगवान लग रहा है. Which of the following was not in favor of consolidating Mayagar merger of banks? Not in favor of. सुरेश तेंदुलकर कमेटी. सुरेश तेंदुलकर कमेटी तो तेंदुलकर कमेटी तो उसमें थी ना. पॉवर्टी में. Who among the following British historian divided Indian history in three parts: Hindu, Muslim, and British? Hmm. Warren Hastings, James Mill, Sir Thomas Smith. Fiction is a force of opposition. It is caused by which of the following factor? Worn out shoes, smooth and reduced grip. Say. Rough steps at railway station, interlocking of surface. Both okay. What is the form of SPPEL, a Government of India initiative related to language learning? E-learning हो सकता है. English learning मुश्किल है. Special program for pedagogy and e-learning. Pedagogy. Pedagogy का मतलब है टीचिंग होता है ना शायद. Of English literacy. Schemes of promotion of pedagogy for English language. Schemes for primary pedagogy English learning. इंग्लिश के लिए तो इतना नौटंकी नहीं करेंगे. ई लर्निंग के लिए ज़्यादा हो सकता है. In the 113 annual meeting of International Labour Conference is scheduled at which city? I have no idea. A handball match lasts a total of 30-30 मिनट के होते हैं शायद मेरे हिसाब से. 35 भी हो सकता है. 30 करेंगे. Chief Justice of India Ranjan Gogoi has made it clear that daily hearings which had begun which begin which began a minor accident on the sports ground became fatal to the player who was hit by a cork ball. Synonym of fatal, disastrous. If he started an hour ago, if he started an hour, he would her, he would here soon. He shall be here. Shall be, ought to be तो मतलब ये नहीं होगा. The student said to her, I don't remember your name. Student said to her that he or she cannot. Don't का cannot हो जाएगा. He did not. Do not का did not हो जाएगा. Did not remember her name. Told her that the student told her that she did not. Do not का did हो गया. I speak English fluently, don't I? If I had completely completed my homework, I could go outside for fun. If I had and I had a past, I could have gone. Yes. If you have power or money, you misuse, and if you don't have it, you yearn for it. Hmm. If you have power or money, you misuse. If you have power or money, you misuse it, and if you don't, you have to yearn for it. If you have power and money, you misuse it when you don't have it to that you yearn for it. Misuse it, and if you don't, and when you don't. His PhD degree seems to be Penelope's web. It was undoubtedly the best of the two options given to him. The best of two options सही है. That two options तो बिल्कुल सही है. Given to him. It was सही लग रहा है तो. It was undoubtedly, doubtedly, undoubtedly the best of the better of होगा ना. बेस्ट तो तीन में हो जाएगा शायद. यही कंपैरेटिव डिग्री नोटंगी. Much more than usual or expected. Much more than usual or expected. More degree subordinate exceeding. Much more than usual or expected is exceeding. ज़्यादा है तुम्हारे. Ordinary, moderacy, subordinate का मतलब साथ में. The watchman has been bitten by a stray dog. Has been bitten. ये तो कुछ गड़बड़ है. क्या करना है इसका? Active voice. A stray dog has bitten the watchman. A watchman has bitten the stray dog. ये अलग है. Schematic. Schematic diagram बोलते हैं ना. Schematic diagram. Schematic. Schematic. It's that schematic diagram of a cell ऐसे बोलते हैं शायद. Label type होता हो. Grammatic, diabolical, disturbing तो नहीं. I had been reading this book for 2 hours before he arrived. I had been reading this book. I had been reading. Been reading. I have been this book for 2 hours before he arrived. I had been reading. Hmm. थोड़ा इधर कर देते हैं. He arrived. Was reading this book. I had been reading past participle continuous for 2 hours. Yeah, for 2 hours since 2 hours. I've been reading this book since 2 hours. For 2 hours again before he arrived. इसमें थोड़ा गड़बड़ हो सकती है. I jumped over the wall and fell straight into the garden. Amnesty International had a reputation of being a hard place to work, so the word toxic was used to describe the amnesty work culture so far back as the 1990s. As far back. It had been raining continuously for a week. Out of the given four sentences, choose the one which is grammatically correct. It has been raining continuously for a week. Since his mouth watered when he saw a bouquet of grapes in the market. Bouquet होता है grapes का. Hmm. His mouth watered. बंच होता है ना, बुके थोड़ा ना था, बंच ऑफ ग्रेप्स होता है भाई. मैं भी कंफ्यूज हो गया था एक मिनट. The reason for his prolonged illness is he is given in drinking. One of the reasons of his prolonged illness, उसकी इतनी लंबी illness का reason क्या है? He is given up drinking. Given up drinking, उसने पीना छोड़ दिया है, तो illness क्यों है इसको? Given way drinking, given to drinking, he is given to drinking. उसने ड्रिंकिंग ले ली है तब शायद होगा ये. गिवन अप तो अलग मीनिंग हो जाएगा इसका. The general manager of the firm didn't dash to attend the meeting. Didn't want. Mandeep has repaired the truck. The truck has been repaired by Mandeep. Has been नहीं होगा. Centuries of Childhood 1960 Phillips Aries argued that the modern concept of childhood as a sacred separate stage of life on requiring intense paternal devotion and expert guidance emerged only in 17th-18th century. Before this, children were integrated into adult life. Afterward, they became the center of increasingly inward focused family. But Aries also observed something else. With childhood elevated to the status of divine purity, motherhood had become into priesthood. The divinity of the child demands the subordination of the mother. What appeared to be relative reverence for the child was, in practice, an instrument for regulating the behavior of women. Aries' book has garnered criticism for medieval historians, but parts of it still ring true today. Contemporary motherhood operates under the what researchers call immense parenting, philosophy demanding that mother optimize every aspect of their child development through constant vigilance and expert guidance. The Five key beliefs of intensive parenting still echoes. Aries thesis parenting is best done by mothers. Significant times must be invested to meet children needs. Experts' knowledge should guide decision. Resources must be devoted to stimulating activities, and children are inherently precious and innocent. Across the world, the same script plays out in different costumes. In the US and the UK, it's called gentle parenting. Globally, attachment parenting promises secure child but demands constant availability. Japan, Koyuko Mama, education mother, and Korea's Ion Mama Pro mother is expected to orchestrate her child every academic success while sociologists describe Western middle class parenting practical practicing concerted cultivation and equal labor intensive choreography of lessons sports and self-esteem. Each form framework claims to be liberate mothers' knowledge through through knowledge. It all tighten the same knot. Whether they can always do more. The apparatus of scientific motherhood that emerged in Victorian Britain didn't just create standards for child rearing, it created a comprehensive system for managing women's life. The same logic ba- that blamed working class mother for infant mortality also circumscribed what women could do, where they could go, and who they could become. And babies' welfare never ceased to be the state's concern, or even its key performance indicator. In the past few years, Taiwan's Ministry of Health and Welfare evaluated hospitals and local health bureaus on whether 50% of infants were exclusively breastfeeded for 6 months, turning an intimate time consuming act into national gold standards. The cult of intensive motherhood, dressed up in the language of children welfare, has been a means of restricting women's freedom. The machinery never disappeared, it only modernized. When the lady visitors once audited kitchens, employees, and HR policies now monitor women's body and productivity. Most consistent with the author's argument in the passage, the culture expectations placed on mother are diminishing due to modern advancements. Intensive mother practice, regardless their cultural variation, presently reinforce the idea that mothers can never do enough. Experts, guides, and scientific advances have freed mothers from traditional burden. Focus on children welfare has eliminated gender bias expectations in parenting. ये भी गलत है, ये भी गलत है. The cultural explanation placed on mother are diminishing due to modern advancements. In practice regarding their cultural variation presently reinforce the idea of mother can never do. Based on this passage, what can be inferred about the relationship between the child welfare standard and women autonomy? Stricter child welfare standards have led to greater autonomy for mothers. The promotion of child welfare often functioned as a justification for surveillance and restriction for women. Child welfare standards are related to regulatory of are unrelated. State has gradually relinquished interest in child welfare as society in the और ये क्या हो गया कुछ कुछ भी हो रहा है The tone of the passage can be determined by describing analytical and critical societal mechanism related motherhood, celebrity and optimistic about modern parenting. Following statement is about It is based on the belief that mothers should be the primary caregivers. It encourages the delegation of child rearing tasks to external experts and institutions. It is based on the belief that mothers should be the primary caregivers. It encourages the delegation of child rearing tasks to external experts and institutions. It prescribes significant time and resources for mothers to optimize children's development. Which of the following statement accurately reflects author discussion about the historical development of childhood and motherhood? The notion of childhood as a distinct protection phase emerged in 17th and 18th century. Require intense parental of childhood as a sacred. The elevation of childhood led to increased autonomy and freedom for mothers. The elevation of childhood led. The sanctification of childhood resulted in the regulation of subordination of women, particularly mothers. फोर्टी सेकेंड है, 43rd है, क्या है यार, ये भूल गया मैं. 42nd है शायद. पहले एंटी डोपिंग एजेंसी ऐश्वर्या बच्चन. हिस्ट्री ऑफ ब्रिटिश इंडिया. रैंडम नंबर्स है, कैसे कोई गस भी करेगा. दो मुस्लिम ब्रिटिश. थॉमस स्मिथ लग रहा है क्योंकि इसके नाम के आगे सर है बस, बाकी किसी के नाम के आगे नहीं है. इंटरनेशनल लेबर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. I had been reading this book for 2 hours before he arrived. I had been reading कुछ गड़बड़ लग रहा है. कम हो गए ना. 7. इसके 150 आ रखे हैं पर इसको नंबर 1 नहीं दे रखा. तेजस पाटिल को दे रखा नंबर 1. क्वेश्चन भी मैंने कम किए ना इसमें. 4 गलत हुए भाई इसमें 3 गलत हुए. लाल सलाम ईरानी. एंटी डोपिंग कहाँ हो सकती है? मॉन्ट्रियल में. ऐश्वर्या बच्चन 94 में. फॉलोइंग हिस्ट्री ऑफ ब्रिटिश इंडिया. जेम्स मिल. 43 है क्या? 44 है. शिट. Which book of Jhumpa Lady is considered memorial of the other words? Jhumpa Lady Namasik. Identity, culture, assimilation of family relationship, with surprise fiction, 2000 में इंटरप्रेट मालदीव्स lowland Norway Jumpaladi family loss and political turmoil. क्या हो सकता है कितने मिलियन टन 66। ये मुझे जानना है कि 8% लोगों को भी कैसे पता है। A traditional folk dance genre of Bhojpuri region that consists of emotional biraha. जेम्स मिल भाई जेम्स मिल के दो दो क्वेश्चन आ रखे कैसे हो सकता है ये सर 6 दोनों जेम्स मिल ने लिखी हिस्ट्री और हिस्ट्री ऑफ ब्रिटिश इंडिया और हिंदू मुस्लिम ब्रिटिश में डिवाइड किया। अब ये भी नहीं है स्पेल स्पील इंग्लिश 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 है तो इंग्लिश होगा ही फिर। स्कीम फॉर प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ पेडागोगी फॉर प्रोटेक्शन किस चीज की पब्लिक प्रमोशन ऑफ प्राइमरी पेडागोगी इंग्लिश लर्निंग प्रमोशन कर रहे हैं। प्रोटेक्शन मैंने कहाँ से पढ़ लिया पता नहीं कहाँ होगी लेबर स्कीमा में। if he started an hour ago he ought to be तो मतलब होता है must be क्या something is going to happen by using the expression ought to be we can expect he should be present here soon. If you have power or money you misuse it if you misuse and if you don't you have yearn for it yearn का मतलब रोना होता है। you don't आएगा सब ये तो है don't आएगा। when you have power and money you misuse so that you don't have to yearn for it you misuse it and if you don't you yearn for it। it have been raining it has been raining continuously for a week since subject plus has plus have plus been plus present participle plus since slash for time. I've been working on this project for a week. %33 नहीं schematic अच्छा क्वेश्चन था ये भी 25 ने किया ये भी 25 ने किया। तो अभी थोड़ा स्कोर कम हो गया 101 आया है। बाय बाय।